joining us today is Paul Barrett and Mark Gasson, the CEO and COO of Rome Resources. Thank you both very much for joining us today. So Paul, first of all, let me just come to you. You've announced a operational update from Rome Resources here. I know we spoke, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we talked about that new tin zone you'd identified. There's been a few things happening. So just bring us up to speed briefly on this operational update.
So on the operational side, we have the 3 rigs at the site operating. We basically we're very close to the end of this program. So we're drilling 30, we're also drilling 31, and we plan to drill 32. And there's a really good technical rationale for all of those holes. And Mark will fill us in later on. But essentially, we will be pausing operations in terms of the drilling at the end of July. And we've also mentioned that because of a number of factors, principally because the holes that we've drilled, 27, 28, 29, through to the ones that we are drilling now, have shown much better tin and copper in them. They are deeper, and they, as you mentioned, this new zone, so they're partly testing that zone as well. So there's quite a lot of material that is not yet assayed, but we believe from our XRF data that it's much better than what we've seen before. And so therefore, it would be remiss if we didn't include that in the resource estimate. So that's one reason for pausing that. The other reason is the fact that we're seeing so much copper. I mean, this is basically a mountain of mineralization. I mean, it's just huge. So we are seeing copper, zinc, and of course tin almost everywhere in this system. It's quite complex, as you'll see, but it also is very substantial. And so getting the copper out with the tin is going to be key. That's why we're doing the met work, and also why we want to kind of get that under our belt and let MSA do a bit of work on the copper side as well. So there are a number of compelling reasons to say we wait until September for a resource report, because that'll give the full picture. At the moment, we've just got a partial picture, so there's really in a way no point in doing that. So yeah, we've got quite a firm plan now of going forward, based on what we're seeing at the moment and what we hope to see from the couple of holes that we've still got to drill.
Okay, good. Well, Mark, let me come to you then, of course, on the technical side. So we discussed this slide with Paul last time, but I'd be keen to get your thoughts on it. So this new tin zone, I think we were talking last time, Paul, we weren't sure whether it was a completely new zone or a faulted repetition. Mark, are you any clearer on what this area could be?
Hi, Mark. No, at this stage, I would say let's consider it as a new zone, and basically it's a game changer. We had 200 meters of sulfide at surface with the copper and the zinc and tin. Suddenly we add another 100 meters onto it. So now we potentially have 300 meters across the structure. So we're looking at a major system. We don't know whether this could be a sort of an upthrown block from the current drilling, but it's probably better to consider it as a new zone, and effectively it's on the side of the hill, so the geochem isn't that strong, and you would miss it. But here we have a decent sort of 30 meters of cassiterite or tin at close to surface, and this could be open-ended, both ends. So it could potentially be another massive zone, which effectively could have a major impact on our resource. So the plan going forward now, in this campaign, we'll be drilling one hole to the northeast of the current hole 30. And effectively that'll give us a much better indication of what the zone actually looks like. Because right now we're drilling into highly weathered material, and tin's very mobile, and so we don't have a clear picture. There is some copper coming into it as well. That's why I'm not convinced that it is a faulted block, that it could be a completely new independent zone. So drilling will tell.
Okay. So let's just have a look at this one. So well, first of all, you've had the XRF results from 27 and 28. So, and you say they're confirming the geological model. So that's lots of zinc, copper and then into tin.
Yeah, that's been our model all along, and similar to the other San Rafael and even Alphamin next door.
Yeah.
Where you've got high grade tin at surface, and San Rafael started up as a copper mine. High grade copper at surface. And as they mined down to deeper levels, so the tin came in. And if you look at Alphamin next door, they've got copper and there is a bit of zinc, but the copper is sort of running around 0.2%. So maybe that would be the strongest analogy to what we have now. So holes 27 and 28, deeper down, the copper is becoming less in 27 and 28, but the tin is picking up, and we're definitely seeing more cassiterite coming into the system, and that's confirmed on the niton analyses.
Okay. So on this one, where we can see the new tin zone sort of illustrated there in the sort of the orange. So the hole we can see there, that's hole 30. So that's part of this $1.6 million drilling campaign. So holes 31 and 32 are going to sort of follow up down this trend, are they?
32 will be drilled to the right of 30 to the northeast, and that'll give us an intersection in the sort of fresher rock.
Okay.
And that'll be the last hole we drill before this to end this campaign.
Okay, and that's due to wrap up pretty soon as well. I think you said July, so only maybe a week or two to get that sort of wrapped up.
Yep. As soon as the helicopter's mobile, it'll be another week or so after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So then, if we just sort of think about what's to come, there's a few things that looks like it's going to be happening here. So you've got, Paul, you mentioned the MRE there. So let me just clarify. That's going to include it's Kalai, which is pretty much done. Also Montagoma, but also to include the new zone as well.
Yes, that's right. Because if at the moment with the data that's available, i.e. the formal assay data, there's quite a lot missing, including this new zone. So it can't really be assessed. And so, yes, that's going to include that.
So you've got effectively drilling complete within a couple of weeks. So I guess the market can wait for that news. Then you've got assays, I think, due in August, and then quickly followed by the MRE, that first maiden resource estimate in September. So you've got 3 months of real significant news flow coming.
Yeah.
No, sorry, there's something else I'd like to touch on. And that is, zinc has been the overlooked commodity, even though there's plenty of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what is particularly interesting is that in the northeastern zinc zone is it's you have a sort of a 30-40 meter wide zone, which is above 10% and up to 25% zinc. But more important, that is it's got a strong lead association with it.
Okay.
And obviously you've got the copper on there as well. And so that is the perfect sort of host to find germanium, which is a highly sought after commodity. Mm-hmm. and that could be a game changer for if we find germanium, it'll be a game changer for the zinc zone, which hasn't had much credit up until now.
Okay.
So we're in the process of submitting some samples from previous drilling from the lab, and we should have those results out in the near future, maybe even 2 to 3 weeks. And so it's something else that we could update the market on.
So it's looking like multi-commodity then. So germanium potentially, if you can find it, of course, copper and is zinc, is that not that important? I mean, it's obviously important, but is it less of a interesting commodity?
It'll always add to the to the bigger picture. And then of course there's silver as well. We've had some pretty interesting silver grades all the way through.
Okay.
So that'll be part of the resource mix at the end of the day. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Good.
So yes.
Well, there's a few things that you both have said. I mean, I think, Paul, you said it's sort of full of mineralization. Mark, you said a game changer. You said that word a couple of times here. I mean, how does this new zone, because it seems like a lot is around this new zone, how is that changing your perspective of this whole project? Because if you've got multiple commodities here, it adds complexity, I would say, to the whole extraction process.
Well, the big thing about the new zone is that we've always focused on when you get to the mining stage, we'd start off with an open pit on copper, and eventually get down to much deeper levels and hope assume and hope the tin comes up to substantial grades that you can start mining underground. Now that you're finding tin at surface, and that's on the side of the hill, so straight away you're mining tin in your open pit at a much earlier stage. So that's a game changer in that side. But then also, it's a whole new zone, and it's completely open to the copper anomaly continues for another kilometer to the northwest. So if this new zone is associated with the copper and you're just not seeing the tin in the soil anomaly, it could be another, who knows, 500 kilometers, further on strike. So it could be really big. Okay. And so we'll be chasing that pretty hard.
Yeah, and I think sorry, Mark. I think one of the keys as well is, the original kind of exploration model is to chase the surface soil tin anomaly, and 30 doesn't have. It's outside. It was on the edge, really, of that tin anomaly, which suggests to me, and it's down flank on the hill, which suggests to me that the tin anomaly may well be constrained to the crest of the hill, and erosion and runoff has taken out any soil anomalies on the hillside. So that's basically not to say that there isn't any tin underneath those sides of the hill, and therefore we're not constrained by the footprint of the geochemical anomaly at all. And 30's proven that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've been lucky to date with our soil anomalies, and how there has been such a close association. But it's not a straightforward system.
Well, just finally then, how would you summarize this as shaping up? Is it bigger and better than you expected, or is it adding complexity that you've got to be aware of? What's the general takeaway from, as you've now progressed a lot throughout the course of this year, your understanding, or perhaps there's still questions to be answered?
Yep, it's part of building the big picture. And, you can't step out 100 meters or 200 meters and expect to prove your model that it gets better at depth, because you can imagine how long the rocks have been around, and basically a lot of structure and everything like that. So you could easily miss something if you stepped out. You systematically have to just work through it and chase your model down dip, and that's exactly what you're doing. And so far, everything is matching up to our model.
Okay.
So it's good. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you both very much for joining us. So we can maybe catch up as that drill program concludes, and then we can await those assay results in the summer. And then as we all get back to work and our heads down in September, the all important MRE.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep you posted.
Thank you very much, Mark Gasson and Paul Barrett, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.